Guys, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. I've got Russell in the Algarve, got Kam in Florida, and we got Jam in Connecticut. So, guys, thanks for joining the podcast. This is just a general chat. We thought we'd have a quick chat about different things related to Spurs. So we're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to be talking about Kam's favourite subject, which is Gareth Bale. Talk about Christian Eriksen, the prodigal son, whether he may return. And we'll do a mid-year review on where we think Spurs are. So, welcome to everybody to the podcast again. Let's start with Gareth Bale then. I'm going to start with Kam because I know it's his favourite subject. Without going over what you said before, Kam, tell us what the future holds for Gareth Bale at Tottenham.
Okay, thanks for letting me start off on this because I just read an article from Glenn Hoddle. I don't know if any of you saw what Glenn Hoddle had to say recently. But Glenn was saying very clearly that Bale's got to step up and he's got to be given a chance and he's got to be given a run out. He must start games, and that we really need to, in the second half of the season, make use of him. Now, I've got this theory that is that Mourinho wanted all the other teams to put out their best players. And hold our super weapon back for the second half of the season when the other teams start tiring out, and then unleash Bale on the Premier League when he'll destroy everybody and we'll win the league. And I presume that's wishful thinking, but wouldn't that be great if that came true?
But what's the future for Gareth Bale? Is he going to survive this transfer window, or is he going back to Madrid?
I don't think he's going anywhere. I think there's too much invested, too much money's been put in. There's no appetite to take him back to Madrid, from Madrid. Where he goes next year, whether it's a Chinese super club or wherever he ends up is another matter, or even MLS potentially. But basically, I don't see Bale going anywhere at all from Spurs. And I think that if what I said earlier, that he does become this second half of the season super sub who transforms the team and starts making that big difference, then I can potentially see him staying another season. The question is, though, if Mourinho is now looking to people like Jesse Lingard, then that even freezes out and even sort of brings more into question what is Bale actually doing at the club. And, discuss.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, Russell, let me come to you. I know you've had you made some comments about Bale, but now Bale is at the club. Let's assume he's not going anywhere. What does a successful second half of the season look like for Gareth Bale, Russell?
He's obviously got to play. He's got to get I think it's his confidence physically. He doesn't want to let loose, and I think I think the article that Kam mentioned, I think he did talk about his injuries that he's had. Obviously hampered him at Real for the last 18 months. He's obviously not right in a mental state with his command of his body, because he's not unleashing himself like he can. When he first joined, do you remember there was all those reports about him doing amazing stuff on the training pitch and what phenomenon he was. Yeah, he hasn't shown any of that on the pitch. Even against lesser opposition, he still looks a bit half pace. He's just holding back. So I think he's either got to sort of really get a go. I think it used to be, was it Poch used to say, players are going to have to play with injuries. It's part of your psyche, and even if you get some players who don't have the confidence to push themselves through the pain barrier, or like with Bale, what's he got to lose? He's won virtually everything. Why not? If he gets another injury, well, he knows. Unless he wants the last big payday in China and he doesn't want to put anyone off, and that might be the thing. So maybe we are learning a little bit more about him, of his state of mind at the end of his career. The other thing will depend is what happens at Real, because obviously Zidane's not on the greatest footing either there at the moment. So if there's change there, then who knows what that will look like and whether they'll be prepared to do a different deal. But in the current state, I can't see why Levy would extend to the second year at the moment.
Okay. Jam, let me come to you. Do you think, and I want to put this proposition to you, do you think Jose Mourinho has actually been disappointed with Bale, what he thought he was getting and what he actually got? Do you think that's the reason why he's not playing him? He's just been let down?
I don't think Jose had any say in Bale coming back to Spurs. I think that was entirely Daniel Levy. And coming to that, from the beginning of the season, my expectation from Bale were not very big. He was more, in my opinion, someone who was there just for momentum of oh, we got a big name signing. Oh, everyone can be happy about that. Someone who has experience, someone who has won stuff and been there and done that. And it was just more kind of like someone who's going to sell shirts, on Levy's side of things. All I ever expected from Bale was for him to come on, maybe get 10 goals in a season, and that would be phenomenal if he did that. He's on 4 right now. It's very, very likely that he can go on and get a few more. We're going to have some really tough Europa League games, over 2 legs, and I think he's definitely going to be used in those matches a lot, and that's probably where he's going to prove his worth to us. But from the beginning of the season, I in his position, I expect him to be 3rd choice in our team. We got youngsters like Bergwijn and Lucas who really should be starting ahead of them for where they are in their careers compared to where Bale is in his career. Especially, if this was Bale who had played for 2 seasons prior to coming to us and was fully fit, fully ready, has been roaring and doing the deed for the last 2-3 seasons, I would expect a lot more of him. But this is not that Bale. It's not a Bale who has played in 2 seasons consistently. So I always looked at him as someone more along the lines of a Joe Hart signing. The reason we bought Joe Hart was for experience, for giving motivation to the younger players in the squad. Look what I did. I'm Gareth Bale. I started off at Tottenham like you guys. I went off to Real Madrid, won all these things. You can be like me, essentially, is what I always looked at him like.
Well, I partly agree with.
Inspire people to leave too much.
Sorry, go ahead, Russell.
No, just like Jam says, you can be like me and go away and win things. I hope he doesn't inspire too many.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
That's true.
But I've got to disagree with Jam because I don't think anybody can come to that club without Jose's agreement. I mean, Daniel Levy may have had input, but I think Jose wanted him there. But I think he's just been disappointed with what he's seen in training and etc. and doesn't want to put him in. I think he's just going to be a cup player, Russell. I think he's probably decided he's not good enough for the league, or intensity is not good enough for the league, and he's just going to play him in the cups.
Yeah,
can I rebut to that?
Though, he's not being a problem. He's not, the way Jose talks about him in the dressing room, he sounds like, he's still very positive about him and he's helping. He's not like when we had, Jan and Toby and Eriksen all like looking for other contracts and causing a problem in the dressing room. It's nothing like that. No. So I guess that is one good positive, and I think it's like Jam says, he's a good influence to inspire and
So come back, Jam. You wanted to come back on that, Jam?
I just wanted to say on that point, it's like if he was causing Mourinho some headaches, he wouldn't be sitting on the bench, And that's the fact that he's on the bench every single match, no matter where we go anywhere in Europe, where he's in the Premier League, he's on the bench, and that's clearly saying something. It means he's not ready to start, doesn't? But it means he's doing what he needs to do to be on the bench at least on during training.
Yeah, having said, and I'm gonna come to you in a minute, Cam, but I just want to say, even and I've said this to Russell before, even Gareth Bale at 50%, I'd take him any day over Lucas Moura or one of these other guys. So that's just my view, Cam.
Well, I'm going to agree with you because two things I'd like to call your attention to, guys. One is when he first came on against West Ham, albeit we were 3-0 up and we went on to 3-3, he almost got a wonder goal. He was potentially fouled. He could have gone down and he could have scored within the first 5 minutes of coming on and made it 4. And then we'd be talking about a totally different player. Secondly, he did change the game against Brighton when he came on. The only game-changing moment I can remember when we were down. We've been down against Palace. We had I think it was about another 25 minutes to go. We didn't bring him on. We did nothing. We didn't win the game. Same thing happened against Fulham. And I mean, the list goes on and on. The point is, who have we got that can come on and change the game right now? I'm not talking about Mora coming on when we're 1-1 or trying to get whatever. I'm talking about someone who can actually change the game when we need it the most. And I don't see anybody else, to be honest with you, and I just don't get why he's not being used in that role. Now, he does look, his body language is beginning to fade, whether you like it or not, and I could see that in the last game against that we played against Fulham. It looked like his body language was fading, right? And I'm not sure. I mean, I know we beat Sheffield United, but if Gareth Bale can't even get on the pitch, right, against Sheffield United, then we've really got to be considering what is going on at the club. So there's got to be to it. I think Jose is very, very particular about people who don't do exactly what he wants them to do. He took Bergwijn out after his mistakes. Toby's not been rehabilitated yet since his mistake, right? What's his name? Aurier was made to pay for his mistakes by a few games. Maybe it's just something's happened between Bale and he's making him pay. I don't know, but it just seems to me that there is a pattern in the way that Jose runs it. But final point I'd like to make, Ray, and that is Jose, not Jose. Where is the Portuguese, man?
Oh,
Jose, please.
Jose, my apologies. I think Russell was going to correct me on
Russell.
that. But Russell, why don't we just get rid of Bale? And you're paying 200k a week for him. Get rid of Bale. You can get a decent striker or a decent creative midfielder for 200k a week. Why don't we just do that? We'll come on to Christian Eriksen anyway. But what do you think, Russell? Just get rid of him to free up the wages, or are we tied in until June? Are we with Bale?
I think it is still a little bit early. I mean, he hasn't played for a long time, and to go back, the Spanish league is a different game. To go back into the intensity of the Premier League, but I think my question is, you've got to trust Jose. Jose is the one who picks the team and the way to play. So the question I think we all have to think is, if Bale had started more games, would we be any better off than we are?
We'll never know, will we?
I'm not sure we would be.
But you can't tell me that 1-1 Palace, Newcastle, whoever, I can't even remember, Fulham, who else did you draw 1-1 with? You can't tell me that a 4-time Champions League winner, a Copa del Rey winner, Premier League winner wouldn't come on and make a difference. At least if the law of averages, you put me in all those 4 games, he's going to make a difference in at least one of those games, surely.
I totally agree. He should, but he's had chances to show it. And honestly, his Europa League performances, it was embarrassing.
I know, but nobody, even Jose said that players can't motivate themselves for the Europa League. I don't know if it's true or not, but
all due respect, Russell, he did get the chance to do it. 1-1 against Brighton, and he got the goal that made it 2-1. So, he has done it in that one chance that he was given.
And didn't he get the free kick, which the keeper spilled in one of the Europa League matches? So we scored through that.
Yeah, that was a goal too.
Maybe he does need a run, but it's quite a show of faith at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay, we've had our say on Gareth Bale, so I don't think we can sort that one out. But I think he's going to stay till the end of the season at least, so that's it. Okay, let's move on to transfers now. Russell, let's start with you again, because I know you're in the know. Have you got any idea about who do you think we may be going for? I've heard Jesse Lingard. I've heard some Emil Benduya. I can't even pronounce it, from Norwich. Do you know? Have you got any more intel on that?
I haven't really seen anything concrete, and obviously everyone loves to link Spurs, especially with Jose. Is always the one that is easy to. He always wants the checkbook out. But I'm more excited about some of our youth players actually that are out. And I don't know if you've seen Skip. He's doing well at Norwich, but physically he looks like he's really beefed up and he's ready.
I haven't seen him. No,
I think he's nice, and Jose loves him as well. So I think he's another one. If we then go on to Eriksen, if we can skip on to him.
But one thing, let's talk about. Okay, we'll come on to Eriksen in a minute. But what about Troy Parrott? How's he doing at Millwall?
I think he had a few injuries, so I think he started the last 2 games apparently. But I mean, he was talked about. I think it's easy to get excited about the youngsters, isn't it, and then push them too early. But at some point, like Dane Scarlett, the 16-year-old lad, he looks phenomenal, but it can be done. And sometimes I wish we would put some of these younger players in. Harvey White out on loan, Jack Clark's gone out to get them some games. So I think we've got some good talent there, but it always seems like some of these youngsters, only 50% of them ever come off and make it. So
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Let's come to Jam now. Jam, the famous Christian Eriksen is rumoured to want to come. Apparently, Fabrizio Romano, the famous journalist, is saying that he actually wants to come back to Tottenham. and they're worried about. They don't mind it on a loan period. He's being touted to Liverpool, to Arsenal, and a few other players. What do you think about having Christian Eriksen back?
At this point, I would take him back. You know, I'd say a month ago, I'd be like, I don't want him back. I don't need him back. But we clearly have a creativity issue, and I feel like he could fill that void. But at the same time, I don't want him to step on Ndombele's toes. Ndombele is really getting into that groove now, and you know, positionally, I would say they're similar players. You know, unless you're going to play either one of them out on like the right wing, which is probably our you know, I would say the team mostly picks itself now, other than maybe Bergwijn, who I'm saying Bergwijn is definitely a starter now, but he's the most likely to be dropped out of the first team. And could Eriksen come in and fill that role? We've seen him play on the right wing, kind of up front a bit. I think he could play that position. But obviously, if you're going to buy him, he's going to come in and play a number 10 role, which is his typical role, which is become Ndombele's position. And I don't want to drop Ndombele. So, you know, there's that option. There's that to worry about.
Okay. Cam, what do you think? Would you take Eriksen back? And if you did, how would you loan him? Would you take him back on loan? Where would you play him? Tell me.
I think a loan would be a good idea. I'd rather Eriksen came back to Spurs than went to Arsenal. That's for sure. So even if that means just keeping him away from them, is for me would be worth it. However, I mean the situation is, what worries me is that I don't think we replaced anyone like Eriksen. I understand that we've got Ndombele, who's sort of a bit of a mixed player and has a lot of fits into the team and Jose's style pretty well. But have we got that creative person who can sit there and see a pass before even the players made the run and put that ball in that position? We haven't really had anyone like that since Eriksen, and I don't think we have. We have a tendency, however, to buy a lot of players who are very, very similar, who sort of half fit one role and half fit another role. Let's think about, you know, we've got Lo Celso, we've got we're talking about Bergwijn, we've got Lamela, we've got Mora. None of them are Eriksen, though, are they? None of them can do that real big proper killer pass. We expected maybe Lo Celso could, but I'm not seeing it yet. Maybe that is the answer next season. You know, he needs a couple more seasons. But right now, I think at the back end of this season, get Eriksen in. If he can do what we want Bale to do, which is, come in 20, 30, 40 minutes and game change, then that will be really it. I'd like to say one more thing that's going to be controversial, especially with the two guys that I hear to Russell and Jam, and that is Bale should actually be coming on for Son, and Son should be maybe getting 65 minutes, and then put Bale on in his position and let those two intertwine and compete for that job. That's where I see Bale fitting in. I don't see him fitting in anywhere else.
Okay, it's only Cam who I can ask a question about Christian Eriksen and he brings it back to Bale, but that's fair enough. I'm gonna come back to Russell now. Russell, first question is, do you want Eriksen back? My next question will follow on from that.
I think my heart tells me I don't want him back just because of the problems he caused before. He wanted a new challenge, which I respect, and he wanted pastures new, and in the end he ended up with Inter Milan, which makes me think he wasn't playing that well towards the end of his time at Spurs. Now, was that due to just a lack of form, or he was trying to not get injured because he wanted a deal somewhere else? But even Inter Milan, I know there's personality issue and the way into play with Conte, etc. Well, I can't remember who's the manager now there, but
he's Conte, yeah.
Conte.
But they're top of Serie A, Russell. They're top of Serie A. So,
but if he's not good enough for them, why should he be good enough for us?
Yeah. But
he's
not. Conte doesn't like him. I think Conte wasn't involved in bringing him. But another question for you, Russell. His wages after tax, 7.5 million euros a year. So imagine how much he's going to cost now. Can we afford him?
Well, I think obviously the situation has changed. I would be very surprised if Levy now would offer him the same deal that he offered him to stay. Surely the bargaining power or the balance of power is in our favour now. And so if we got him at a good price and his wages weren't that bad, then yeah, maybe he can come back and prove himself again. But sometimes I questioned his effort and commitment, and that was more And in his heyday, he was consistently the player who ran most out of all the team, and he really, really put it in. Would we get that again? And I think maybe we're dreaming. Sometimes it doesn't always work out well when a player comes back, and sometimes.
Yeah. Another thing I heard from Fabrizio Romano is Inter Milan are looking. If it's Tottenham who are buying, they want a fee in addition. They want some sort of fee for him in addition to a loan, because they said, we just paid you 20 million euros for Christian Eriksen. You want to take him back on loan without paying a fee? It's not happening. So whether Levy is going to pay a fee plus his wages, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. If it was me, I wouldn't be paying him half as much as what he was. And I don't think whether he'll go to Arsenal, I don't know. I don't think he's that big a threat. How old is he now? 29?
Yeah, he's 29, yeah right.
I mean, my view on it, Russell and Kam and Jam, is the fact that Eriksen had his time. We offered to match anything that anybody else paid. He said no, he wanted to go. He's made his bed, let him lie in it now. We've got other players like Ndombele, Lo Celso. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't take him. If he wants to go to the Gooners, let him go to the Gooners. He can fail there as well. He brings a negative. I think Russell's right. In his last season, he was just moaning. He didn't moan openly, but he wasn't playing 100%. He didn't want to get injured. His mind wasn't on it. You know, I've known other players who give 100% in the last day they leave the club. So I wouldn't take Eriksen back. What do you think?
What I don't want, that's where my heart rules my head is. I don't want it setting a precedent or showing, oh yeah, come and prove yourself, make a name for yourself at Spurs, get a big deal somewhere else, and oh yeah, we'll always have you back. So it's like a parachute, safety net.
Yeah, exactly. No.
We don't want that. We want to win titles. We want them to stay. Yeah.
So let's have a vote. We're going to move on from Eriksen's. Let's have a vote. So I'm going to vote we don't bring him back. Kam?
No.
Jam?
Yeah, also going to say no. But I do want to add one thing there. If he went to Arsenal, I'd be fine with it. If he went to Man United, I'd be a little upset because he could cause damages in that team. You know, he could do a very good job there.
And Russell, take him back or no?
No, I wouldn't have him back. Okay. No.
So it's a 4-no, so he's not going to come back as far as we're concerned. Right, so let's move on to the mid-year review now. I'm going to start with Jam on this. 19 games gone. You know, we're in all the cups still. Final of the Carabao Cup. Fourth round of the FA Cup. Last 32 Europa League. Give us your mid-year report on Tottenham. Jam?
I think there's two trains of thought here, because at the beginning of the season, if this is where we were, I would say, yeah, this is about right. You know, there's this full season in charge, lots of other strong teams around us who have recruited well. But then you look at how the actual season has played out with all the teams around us. You know, I would say the three strongest teams in the league right now are probably Man City, United, and Leicester. And that's surprising a little bit, you know. So in the big picture of things, I think we're probably in the right place, but it's always that what if, because we were so close to being what ifs, you know. 2 or 3 matches that changed our whole season so far, our whole dynamic of how we look at the season. We could easily be here right now, a few points clear at the top of the table, easily, if it wasn't for drop points in stupid situations.
I think any team can say that, Jam.
Any team can say that, but ours has happened so consistently after the 80th minute throughout the season. And it's not been a small period of time that this has happened to us. It's happened to us from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. Yeah. Even looking back at the Everton game, obviously it was our first match and we probably weren't up to speed. But that was a winnable match, which we just weren't up for it. Other times throughout the season, other teams have dropped points, you know, but look at the way they have dropped points compared to the way that we have dropped points. It hasn't been as big of a mentality issue as ours have been. It's been more of, you know, the other team has played well. There's lots of good teams in the league, and that's going to happen.
Sure. Okay. Russell, if at the beginning of the season I tell you we're 8 points off top with a game in hand, we'll get to the final of the Carabao Cup, we're in the last 32 of the Europa League and the fourth round of the FA Cup, you would have taken that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, totally. I think you've got to look where we come from. And with all the disruption, it's not been easy either. A new manager, we had a lot of players going in and out, or mainly in. I think it's progress, definitely. And if we win that game in hands, we're only 4 points off the top. So it's I'm quite happy where we are. To be honest, I think there's still those little inconsistencies that we've got to iron out. We could say it's bad luck or it's our own fault, but we're not far off. If we had those the handball VAR thing at Newcastle still annoys me because they then changed the rules.
Yeah.
They keep banging on about the integrity of the competition. It's not
Did you guys
there.
see?
And the West Ham game is annoying, but that was our own fault. So we're not far off. We're close, but it's I'm happy where we are at the moment, but I'm not getting excited about title challenge.
Okay, good, excellent. Cam, mid-year report. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with some of what Russell says and some of what Jam says. My problem is that we always threaten to deceive. We always, and then by this time of the season, we start off, we all get excited. Every Spurs player gets excited. I remember you, Ray, saying, "This is it. We don't do it this season. We'll never do it."
I say that every season.
We make ourselves, we fall for it every time, right? And then it becomes the old Spursy way, kicks back in, the easy games, we start losing. Whereas other teams take their time to come in, and then their and true metal starts to show. Like with Manchester City, what an awful start of the season they had, and look at the way that they're moving on. And this is what worries me about us is and you could say that the drop points have been an issue, but the way we've dropped those points, like Jam said, the way that we have dropped those points is there's no other team that has done it. You can look at the table, leading at half-time, we've lost 10 points. The next team below us that has done that is Southampton, who have dropped 5 points leading at half-time. That in itself tells you that actually there is a serious problem at Tottenham right now. I think that we got over it in the last game, only because we were playing, I believe, Sheffield United. So I hear what Russell says about, I take it, 1 game in hand, 8 off the top. Well, the 1 game in hand that we're going to be playing is going to be against Liverpool. So maybe, it doesn't sound...
I was looking today, if you look at Liverpool's home form, that's what's keeping them up there. They'd be mid-table on their away form, and they've got to come...
But then they have, all the time when they come to Spurs, what happens? Again, we revert to form. This season, we've been consistent in 3 things, I believe. One is not being able to play at Chelsea. The only way we managed to get through with Chelsea, because we have some kind of mortal fear of Chelsea, is by parking 3 buses, not just 1. Leicester, we just it's just like a little child handed them the game because, oh my God, they wouldn't be able to win it themselves, so let's help them somehow. And then at Liverpool, chances to win it, but hey, we're playing Liverpool, so obviously we're never going to take those chances. Not the first time that we had a chance to win it at Liverpool, and then went on and lost it. I think that happened a couple of seasons back when I remember when Poch was there and we were 2-1. So that is a goal. That got a draw. And what the difference for me is the fact that we always know where Tottenham are going to step up, and where we're going to step up is going to be against Chelsea. We've revived their season. It's going to be against Liverpool, and it's going to be against probably Leicester or one other team where it shouldn't have been. Because we also never mentioned, any of you, is the Wolves game. The Wolves game, what was it, the last minute that they scored?
86 minutes they scored in the 86th minute.
They scored, and yet we had that. Get chances, we could have done it. We refused to play football all the way through, and the same thing happened. We let Fulham do it, we let Wolves do it, we let Palace do it, and the list goes on and on. And that, my friends, is what the problem has been. If we carry on doing that in the second half of the season, I believe other teams are beginning to get stronger. I mean, Man United have turned the corner, Manchester City have turned the corner, and if we carry on like this, I think that we will be pushed to get into the top 6. That's my.
I think, okay. Can I just talk about Cam's point that every year we always go, this is our season. Name me a supporter in the Premier League who doesn't feel like that on the day one. That's true. Only one team can win it, and we do have to remember, because we've all supported Spurs long enough. We've been mid-table in the 90s for years. It was boring and we were rubbish. And we've been consistently top 6, for the last 6-7 seasons. So we're getting there, and it does take time, and we haven't won anything. We haven't won the title since 61. So it is going to take a while. Yes, I agree with what we have and the players. We should be winning trophies. We should have a lot more than we have. And you're right, there probably is some sort of psychological issue that needs to be fixed. I have no idea what it is. I'm just a fan. But what worries me in this process that we're talking about, maybe it's a discussion for another time because it's probably a long topic, but Kane is going to go soon. Even if he doesn't go, he's getting old, and we'll have to replace him. And that deadline is looming, and somehow we've got to prepare for that.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's going to happen. He will go if we don't start winning things. But anyway, I thought things were going to change this season when we had, the special one come. He's the guy who's won 25 trophies or whatever. He's going to change the mentality. And I don't know how long it takes to do that, but I thought he was going to start bringing winners in, like Joe Hart, Højbjerg, Gareth Bale. He's brought people who are used to winning, bringing that to the dressing room. So let's give it some time. These things take time, but I honestly am optimistic we'll make top 4 this year and maybe win a cup. So, I've got, again, it's very difficult. We don't have the best squad in the Premier League. I don't care what anybody says. There's Man City. Let me give you an example. Man City 1-0 up against, who did they win in the last match? I don't know. They beat somebody one. Sorry?
Oh, they played Villa yesterday.
But who did they play before that?
Burnley?
I don't remember.
Yeah, whatever. They played somebody. They were winning 1-0. They could have easily have drawn that 1-1 like Tottenham, but they had the strength to see it through 1-0. They didn't play great, but they won it 1-0. Yesterday against Villa, they could have been 2 or 3 down before they scored their first goal, but they got through that game. They kept a clean sheet and they won it 2-0. This is what we need to see. This is what Pep has brought to Man City, and I'm just waiting for Jose to bring that to Tottenham because we've got the players. We don't have the best team in the league, but we've got decent players. Jose.
We're definitely
I'm just waiting for Jose to bring that to Tottenham, and I think he's the one to bring it. But I think if he doesn't win something within the next season, I think he may be gone as well because Levy brought him in to win stuff. If he doesn't win things, 15 million a year, and he's not winning anything, I don't think Levy's going to stand for that.
I think he's getting away with it. There's no fans in the stadium as well, and it's not been
getting
pretty.
away with it. He's getting away with rubbish football. So let's go around the group again. Marks out of 10. I'm going to start. I'm going to give us a 6 out of 10 for the mid-year review. What about you, Jam?
I think 6 is about right, actually. It's a tough one because we are still there's lots of positives we can still take, but it is only halfway through the season and the FA Cup hasn't really got going. So for all we know, we could lose against Wycombe on Monday and it would be a different dynamic. I think 6 out of 10 is very fair. Maybe a 7.
Okay, 6.5 for Jam. What about you, Russell?
I'd be an 8, given the progress we're making. We're still up there. We're still in halfway. We're still potentially in a title race. We're in the final. We're still in Europa. And remember how many games we've had to play. So many games, many more than other teams, just because of this Europa entrance.
But we only played 4 games to get to the Carabao Cup final, Russell.
We still had 3 cups to qualify for the Europa League group stages, though.
Yeah, but marks out of 10, Russell?
Yes.
It's 8. Is it for you?
I'll go for an 8, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Kam, marks out of 10.
Well, me, the pessimistic man that I am, I'd have probably gone pretty low down. But there's one reason why I'm going to go for a 7. And the only reason I'm going to go for a 7 is because we are above the other 2 big clubs in London. And as far as if London had its own league, then we'd be winning it. And Arsenal doing better than that. I'd give us a 7. I would want to mark us down for the fact of the drop points, those 10 points that we've dropped. Let's say that we were as bad as Southampton. That would have been another 5 points in the bag. And we would have been, 2nd? Mm-hmm. So on that basis, I'd probably say between 7.
I think the reason we're only top team in London is more a function of how bad the other teams are rather than how good we are, I think. But anyway, I think. Okay, I want to go around now. I want each of you to tell me who you think our best signing has been and why. So, Russell, let's go to you. In terms of our last season, the signings we made, who's the best signing we made and why?
Last season or this season?
This season, sorry, for this season, yeah.
I think Reguilon. We've needed to solve that left back or the issue, and he has been a revelation. He's got pace. He's young. He's hungry. He puts a lot of effort in. His crossing has been amazing. I think he's our best signing.
Okay, I'm going to go next because I know the other two might say this. I'm going to go for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I think he's an amazing player, an enforcer in the middle of the field. We haven't had any about that since Moussa Dembele left, and Dembele and Wanyama were there, and before that we had Wilson Palacios. So I'm going to go for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Not only is it an enforcer, but he costs only 15 million, which is a snip these days. So my vote goes for Højbjerg. So Cam, who's you going to vote for?
I'm definitely not voting for Doherty, that's for sure.
He's not. Is he really a signing? He's never played for us, has he?
Jesus. Of course, I'm going to go with what you said because, and for another reason, because when Højbjerg doesn't play well, the team doesn't play well. When Højbjerg is on fire and starts playing really, really well and breaks stuff up and starts moving the ball around quickly, the team starts to win. I think the game against Fulham and the first game against Everton are good examples. In both games, he had poor games in those games. And, we were lucky against Fulham to get away with a draw, and we lost the game against Everton. But every other game where he's played on fire, like the game against Arsenal, I mean, it was a different class. And I think that Højbjerg on fire is probably by far the best signing.
Okay, excellent. Jam?
I mean, Højbjerg is obviously our actual sign-in. That's an easy pick, I say. I mean, obviously, Reguilon's been fantastic, and we haven't had a left back like him, I don't think, ever, of that caliber. He's definitely a level above any other left back we've ever had. But I think a fresh shout-out should be going to Son, even though not a new signing. He's like a fresh new player this season.
That doesn't count, mate.
It doesn't count. But he's been changed. He's been changed from his typical role of being a left winger to being our real most potent striker on the team, I would say. So I think that's just got to be mentioned.
Okay. Now, we'll do a quick preview of the Wycombe, but something else. Hold on a second, Cam. I'm running this call, not you. Another thing I want to talk about on this podcast is I want to know who, because you guys are like butchers. So I want to know who do you want to get rid of in the transfer window? And I'm going to come to you, Cam. Which players do you want to get rid of in the transfer window?
Well, I want to get rid of Sanchez. I want to get rid of Doherty.
Yeah.
I want to get rid of Gerson Fernandez.
Yep.
I want to get rid of, let me think who else can I get the chop out
Get
here.
rid of Bale. Get rid of Bale.
No, or get rid of Bale. But honestly, I think that either if we need to free up money to get somebody in, we should seriously consider something like Mora, and we should seriously consider potentially. I won't say it, but I know you hate me, Bergwijn.
Disgusting.
What?
How dare you say that?
It's been so important to us.
You wash your mouth out.
Whenever
now,
he plays, we are a different team.
You wash your mouth out now, Cam. You're disgusting, you are.
Oh, God.
Don't ever say that again, or you're never coming on this podcast again, buddy. Right, I'm going to go to Russell now, because I know he's got... No. I want to come to Russell now, then I'm going to come to Jam. Russell, who are you going to get rid of in the transfer window?
I actually don't want to get rid of anyone this window. I think the squad's good. It's got cover. Yeah, Doherty's not performing, but if you take him away, we know what happens to Aurier's performance. Yeah. So it's actually, you could argue that even though Doherty's not playing well, he's brought the best out of Aurier. He's definitely improved his performance. So, Jedson, I really liked his energy last year, but he's just not getting a game. If it's anyone, I'd let him go.
You let Jedson go, yeah.
Make any difference. We won't miss him. Backup. But everyone else, I think they should stay for now. Okay. I wouldn't be looking to get rid of anyone else.
Okay, perfect. Jam?
Okay.
Who are you getting rid of?
I've been on the fence about this for a long time, kind of arguing myself about how I feel about Dele Alli. And I think I've come to a point where it's like, let the boy go. Let him go. Spread his wings. Play some football elsewhere. Because even if we do get the best Dele Alli, he's not going to be Mourinho's guy. And I would love to have him on the team, but he's just not the player that is what Mourinho wants. So even if Dele Alli is playing it to the best of his ability, I don't think he's going to make it into the team. I don't think he's going to make it on as a sub on the bench. And I think he needs some football time. And he is the only player who I would viably let go that will give us a return, a real return. Something that's money that's being paid to him. He's on a high wages, and he'll, at minimum get us, 20, 30 million?
Well, should get more than that, but anyway.
I would imagine, but realistically, It's a depressed market, exactly.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been playing. You know, if I was coming in, I'll be like, well, you're not playing him. I'm not going to pay you 50 million for someone who hasn't shown me anything in a year and a half, 2 years. You know.
But his roommate is Poch, his father, wants to buy him back.
I'll be watching PSG all the time. Poch and Dele were there.
He's
together.
a great player, Dele. It's really a shame that he hasn't played. He's not been allowed to play through Mourinho. It's really a shame because he's a great player, I think. Anyway, in terms of who I would get rid of, I would get rid of Gareth Bale because he's doing nothing. He's wasting 200k on our wage bill and doing nothing. He's never going to play, so I'd get rid of him. And I'd get rid of Mora, definitely, because after his hat-trick against Ajax, he's done nothing.
Can I just pause you there? I remember at the beginning when we started these videos, you said Lucas Moura can do whatever he wants. He lives rent-free in my head.
But he can do whatever he wants at another club, not here. And I would get rid of Matt Doherty. But no, I wouldn't get rid of Matt Doherty because I like what Russell said. It keeps Aurier on his toes. Danny Rose is going anyway. Gedson's going anyway. I think other than that, I wouldn't get rid of anybody. So that's my favorite. Okay, guys, let's talk about the match against Wycombe on Monday. I don't know, Russell, is the match actually going ahead or not? Or has it been postponed because of coronavirus? What's your view on that?
Yes, as far as I've heard, it's still going ahead. But, the original first Fulham game got cancelled 2 hours before kickoff. So we'll wait until then, I guess. But,
what type of team would you put out? Would you put out a really strong team or would you put out a second string against Wycombe? What do you do?
I'd probably do what I did against Marine. That sort of balance. He had a core going through the middle of experience. Have some good quality on the bench. I think you can have more subs, can't you, in the FA Cup now?
Yeah. But that team that beat Marine, I don't think that would struggle against Wycombe. You know, they're in the Championship. It's not a decent team, they are, Wycombe.
True, but it depends on how many players they've got.
Yeah, it's true. So, okay, Cam, what do you reckon? What type of lineup against Wycombe, and how do you think the match is going to go?
Well, I think Bale up front, hat-trick.
You sure your middle name isn't Bale?
I think he's going to put a strong team out. I think Cup is quite important to Mourinho. Cups are important to him. He needs to get a run in the Cup. He needs to show that he can do what he did at Man United in his big season, where he won the Europa. He got to the final of the FA Cup and he won the Carabao, and he got them into second spot. And he said, that's as far as I could take this team, which was fair enough, I suppose. But I mean, that's where he would like to at least be able to say, I did something at this club. Yeah. Right, so I think he won't pass up a chance of what it could be a potential banana skin, which is Wycombe. I think he'll put out a very strong team.
Okay,
probably the first.
Jam. What type of team do you think he's going to put out?
I completely agree. It's going to be a strong team. I don't see it being. I hope Vinicius starts. Probably Kane get rested. Maybe even Son rested, but other than that, I think it's going to be a strong team all around. Rodon hopefully gets another, run around. Yeah. But we got an eye. We're playing 2 days after that, right? We're playing Wednesday. We play Liverpool.
Thursday, Liverpool.
Is it Thursday? Yeah. So it's still close by. But then again, we haven't had a match in over a week. So
you don't think he's going to rest players for the Liverpool game then?
Rest players for the Liverpool? Yeah, I think Kane and Son maybe. That's about it. I don't see anyone else getting a rest.
Okay. Yeah. I think he might. Thanks. Jam. I think he may play a reasonably strong team with Kane and Son, some big hitters on the bench in case. I think we'll win it, but we may be not as easy as Marine. I think we'll win it. Is everybody in agreement they think we're going to win?
I hope we win. We better win.
What do you think, Russell?
Yeah, no, I think we'll win. I was just looking at Liverpool still 0-0 at Burnley at half time, which is quite good news.
Yeah. Cam, do you think we're going to win?
One thing just for...
Oh, sorry, Russell, go ahead, yeah.
Just the Liverpool game. They've got to play Man United, so they can't put a relaxed team in because it means too much for the fans. So they're going to have a tougher game than we will.
Yeah, but they're playing on Sunday, aren't they? They've got another day to rest.
Well, yeah, but still, I still think that's if we can have rest players.
Cam, hold on a second, mate. Yeah, go on, Cam.
No, I'm done there.
All right, so I think that, like I said, Mourinho's record in the FA Cup is not one of going out in the first round. There's no way that he's going to lose this. He's a cup specialist. He knows how to win these games, and I think that's the big difference between Mourinho and Poch. I mean, Poch he always did have a bit of a banana skin in him, where culture or whatever, or not being able to beat Middlesbrough and stuff. But when it comes to this, I think Mourinho's got enough of a ruthless streak where he will put forward.
Yeah. So okay, we're going to finish off now. Before we go, I want we played every team once at least. I don't think we played every team twice. Now we've got 19 games left. I want each of you to tell me. I'm going to give you one win guaranteed against one team. Who do you want that guaranteed win against? So Russell, you go first.
Yeah, it's easy. I think everyone will say the same. Arsenal.
Yep. Cam?
Chelsea. Only because I think
your bogey team, isn't it?
It's our bogey. I want us to beat Chelsea.
Okay. Jam?
I'm going to say Man United. I'd love to do the double over them. And I think they're the team who most realistically are going to be our closest competitor in top four.
Yeah. I want to say Arsenal because I can't remember if we've ever done the double over Arsenal. And I want to do the double over Arsenal. I'm not sure if we have. Russell will know better than me, the Spurs aficionado. But I'm going to say Arsenal because I want to do the double over those guys. And we haven't won at the library for a long time. So I think we should beat them. So listen, guys. Thanks for joining the podcast. It's been really great to get your views and everything. I'm sure our viewers are going to really enjoy it. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks again. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Thank you.